I don't want to look at my childhood and say, man, that was so good. I wish, I wish, I wish. And then not look in front of me and see the good things that my kids could have that I couldn't. Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. So, if you have been around my channel for any length of time, you've heard me mention that I'm a second generation homeschooler. And this week I was thinking a little bit about my homeschool experience and thinking about sharing some of that with you guys. Like, what is my background? And I kind of got to thinking of some of the differences between my homeschool growing up and my experience and what my children will be. And some of those are good things. Some of those are things I'm doing intentionally, but there's some things that I wish I could give my children that I just can't. I can't give my children everything I want. Their experience will be different from mine, however good mine was. And yes, my homeschool experience was really good. I feel like I had a great childhood. There were issues. That no family, no life is perfect. But looking back, I have really good memories of my childhood. I feel like my parents did a really good job raising us. It was healthy and wholesome. I feel like our homeschool was good and intentional, and my mom did a really good job, especially for what she was given. Like she was on the very beginning edge of the whole homeschool thing and didn't know what she was doing, and she did a great job. And if am as successful in giving my children an education as she was in giving us an education, I'll be very satisfied. And there were some things in our homeschool that I would love to be able to replicate with my children, not just our homeschool, honestly, our homeschool and their childhood. And some of those things I can imitate, and some things are just by nature of who we are and where we are and our life. I can't. And I have to come to grips with that. I have to be able to accept that and not just accept it. I think this is something I've struggled with, not just in homeschool, but actually in their childhood and their upbringing. I have to be able to not just accept that it's going to be different. I have to be able to embrace where we're at and see the good things in what they have, even if it's different. And there are some good things that they won't have. In particular, I'll just, you know, in particular, I think there's two things when I think of this. One is, and this is me because it's how I raise, so some of you will not agree with this, but my kids are going to be town kids. They're gonna be city kids. We're not like super urban. We have a big yard, but we're in the outskirts of town. We are not country. And I grew up country, and it had so many good, wholesome experiences that I would love my kids to be able to have that they just won't. I wish my kids had an acre or two to run around, had just mud, could just dig, could just have animals galore, could, I don't know, all the things with siblings, just go outside and live half their life outside and have so much to do and so much to see and be involved with. We lived on a river growing up that was amazing. We explored so much of that. We climbed trees, we dug holes in our sand pit. We had a big boat ramp. We dug holes in the boat ramp. We rambled through the blackberry bushes and harvested all sorts of wild berries and everything good like that. And I have so many good memories of and just that wholesome childhood that I wish I could pass on to my children that I won't be able to. They have a big yard, and we do try to embrace that, and I want them outside and all that. But jumping on a trampoline out in the backyard and playing in the backyard is not the same as having an acres to go explore that is in a safe, healthy environment. So that is one thing that I would love to be able to give my children, and I can't, and I've struggled with that a little bit internally. And I've had to give that to God, right? God knew where my children were going to be. And because of my husband's work, we will always be near a city center. And that's just the way it is. And I am grateful for what we can. I'm grateful for our home and our yard, and God's given us so much good things, but I've had to let go. And I know we all have things in our childhood that we like or don't like, right? And the things that we want to be able to give them. And some of those things we do have to let go of. And so I've not just had to let go, but I've had to try to shift my mindset away from like, oh, they're not having the good thing, to like, hold on, there's other good opportunities that I can give them, right? There is a lot of family focused events where we are that my kids get to participate in. They've gotten to go ice skating in the dark during Christmas time outside, right? Things that I would never have been able to participate in because we were rural and didn't have those opportunities. So instead of just looking at what I had as good and going, they just won't have all those good things, I'm having to shift my focus to what we have and look for what is good and say, oh, they have these good things. Like there are these opportunities that they will have that I never had. And like I said, not just stop regretting things from my childhood or nostalgizing. That's not how you say that word, but okay. Things from my childhood, but actually to embrace what they will have and make it good and do my best to give them a full childhood where we are. I think the other thing that I can't necessarily give them, and some of these things will develop, is the community I had. And yes, I can search for community and friends, but some things you can't force. Like you can look and do your best at creating those community opportunities and they will come, and I'm not despairing of giving my kids good community, but I grew up in a conservative Christian circle and we had a home fellowship, and I don't know, but God blessed us. I grew up in such a healthy environment, and I haven't realized it until recently, seeing some friends and their kids and kind of just what they're going on with their kids. And I'm like, man, I didn't realize just how good of a community built in we had, and that my peer pressure growing up was amazing and so godly and so um no, we didn't have it all right, but it was just so healthy for a young girl, and then as a teenager, like, I had just such good influences, and I wanna be able to surround my children with those, and I will do my best to do that, but some things again, this is in God's hands. I cannot force who I'm going to meet or who we are going to make friends with. I can reach out, I can try to find those, but some of that's in God's hands, and God may not have the exact same experience for my child into teenager growing up that I had. Maybe I needed different things than they have. And I still need to be intentional with that and really seek to do my best in that, but at some point, I also do need to say, "Okay, God, where do you have us, and how can we engage where we are the best we are?" So, those are some thoughts for you, just me thinking through, um, my heart and all of that, and I feel like if you hold on to what you had or hold on to what you want when you can't get those things, you miss out on what you could have because you're looking at what you want and ignoring the good things in front of you, and I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna look at my childhood and say, "Man, that was so good. I wish, I wish, I wish," and then not look in front of me and see the good things that my kids could have that I couldn't, right? So I would encourage you to also, if there's things that you're wanting for them from your childhood, like embrace what you can, right? I'm going to imitate what I can of the good things that we had. But if there are things that you can't, stop reaching for the moon and engage where you are. Embrace what you have. So, on that note, I'm going to share a few things that I am changing or embracing. Um, that are good things, right? I don't wanna just talk about the things that I wish I had that I can't, right? There's also some things in our homeschool that are going to be different because I have chosen them to be different or because of our circumstances that are good things, right? One of the things that's just circumstantial is the budget I have for homeschooling. My budget with my children is much higher than my mom had, and now, not that you can't have a good homeschool on a low budget, because obviously I did, but I feel like I have a lot more ability to give my kids some opportunities that my mom couldn't give us, classes or lessons if my kids want to excel in certain areas, that they just couldn't because of budget, and so I feel extremely blessed to have the budget I have and not to feel super pinched, and that I can do what I want to do. So that is one thing that's different that I actually am very thankful for. And a couple things that are different that, are partly because of our family and the way it is, but partly intentional choices. So I grew up with a lot of siblings, and my mom was homeschooling a lot of kids. She couldn't give us one-on-one time the same way she could have if she had less children. Now, she did give us one-on-one time, and again, I'm not complaining. She did an amazing, amazing job. But I have the ability, and I'm making the choice to give my children more specific, focused one-on-one time in subjects that they could be independent in, and I do plan to teach them independence in these things. So I'm not saying I don't want to teach that. I definitely want to teach my children how to learn themselves. That is a goal of mine. But I can also, in the younger years, I don't have to push that too fast. I don't have another kid and another kid and another kid coming that I need these children to be independent for. I can take my time in transitioning there. Um, and I can give them that one-on-one focused mom and me time during school. So I'm thankful for that. That's something I want. Another thing that I feel like we didn't do in my homeschool growing up that I really want to do is incorporate family subjects. We never really did subjects as a family. Um, and part of that is like the curriculum that my mom had and the things that were out there. I don't feel like there was as many family-oriented things as there are now. There definitely wasn't. And then we had a large range of ages, and there was other stuff going on. But it's something that I really want to be able to incorporate in my family. It's different from what I had. So I want to be able to pull in those family subjects and do things as a family and engage in topics that we can discuss together for the rest of the day, right? Not you and your own subject and me and my own subject, but we can all have the same thought processes going on. And there will be individual subjects, but for things like history and science and kind of those things, I really want to be able to have family conversations around them. So that's a change that I'm being intentional to bring about. That's going to be different from my experience. I think one more thing that is going to be different that I'm changing and that I'm kind of looking at and intending to change is I want to approach my children with a little bit more of, oh, I want to say a vocational view as they get older. My parents did an excellent job at giving us an education and setting us up to excel at whatever we chose to do. Several of my siblings have gone on to college and have and several of us, all of us have healthy, happy families. Like they did not fail us. I feel like they set us up to do whatever we wanted to do, and whatever I pursued, I have been able to pursue. I had the education to do it. But I don't feel like they approached it with a view of what do you want to pursue? Let's get you to that point. They gave us really the overarching um, education we need to pursue whatever. But as my kids get older, if they show interest in specific things, or not even if they show interest, I want to help them think through what their goals in life are. What are they aiming for? What do they want? And try to be a little bit more intentional, um, just in knowing what they want to pursue as adults and help them start that pursuit, right? Help them fashion that, help them see what are the steps they need to do to reach those goals and kind of just help them along that road. And that's, I think, one thing that I would like to change in our homeschool and make different than what my experience was. But honestly, again, like I said, overall, my experience was amazing. And if I can do half as good as my parents did, I will be thankful for what my children get. Um, this is where we are, right? I can do what I can do, and the rest is in God's hands. And I can embrace what He's given me, and I can do my absolute best, or I could regret that I don't have what I want, or what maybe not what I want, but what other people have. I feel like maybe some people who weren't homeschooled don't have those like, oh, I want to do it this way, but they might see other people's homeschool and go like, I don't have the budget for that, or I don't have this, or we're not in the country, and stop regretting what other people have. Stop trying to wish you had what you don't. Look at what you have and say, what are the good things we can embrace and what can I do to make it the best it can be? So, those are my thoughts for you. Those are my thoughts for myself. I'm telling you guys this, but I have a lot to learn in this area. I still regret, and I just kind of have to remind myself. It's a constant reminder of like, no, we have it so good. My kids have it so good, and I can embrace what we have. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Let me know if you have any thoughts, any feedback from me. I'd love to hear it. And as always, I hope you guys are having a great week.